The Washington County Board of Commissioners recently denied transferring $4.4 million to the Board of Education. It seems that the commissioners do not like the way the board spends their money. But without those funds, the school system cannot move forward with plans to build an academic classroom hub in downtown Hagerstown. Tom, what does this say about the relationship between the commissioners and the school board? And do you think this will impact the redevelopment of downtown?
Well, it says nothing good.
Says nothing good.
I think we can all agree on that particular item. And it seems like there's an awful lot of, somewhere in the background, intramural fighting. I mean, this is just, we're just seeing the tip of whatever is here. And it's just incredible to me that they could dismiss it so easily as some kind of an accounting problem or something, which is, come on. This is about the future of the city. This is about the future of education here. You know, it makes you wonder whether the county actually understands how many people are employed in the school system, how much this is important to the development of downtown Hagerstown, which is part of Washington County. I just don't understand some of this, frankly. It kind of shows a lot of, I think, dysfunction. You know, I think, you know, we got three people voted on this.
Yeah.
One of whom is Terry Baker running for Congress. Maybe he's running to be part of the dysfunction in Washington. I don't know, but it looks like it.
You know, I think you're bringing up a couple.
Got a lot of practice with that already.
Apparently, yes.
There's a good point there, which is that to a large degree, this is a slap in the face of the city. But I think the other part that needs to be brought up is, at any level of government, you trust agencies to make decisions on their own. So the school board voted to have this plan. Certainly the Board of County Commissioners should have some input into it, but for them to just turn it down without really doing any examination, any sort of a study, just because they didn't like something about it is kind of insulting. And I think that the other part that you brought up, which is very good or very important, it's part and parcel of the downtown development movement.
Well, especially when you talk to some county officials, you know, because I still have some good relationships over there, and with the county administrator, and you hear out of their own mouths that, you know, downtown redevelopment is a priority for them, okay? So this doesn't look like it's a priority for them. And you said it, Tom, I mean, you know, if you're worried about the way that the Board of Education does their accounting, you know, too bad, okay? They have a reserve fund for a reason, all right? Now, granted, and I've got some take from some county commissioners on this, and even the county administrator lately. You know, part of their concern is that they are banking maintenance of effort money, okay, which is given by the county to the school board to maintain Washington County school building systems, but they're banking that money. Well, part of that money, and keep in mind, this is you know, if you don't have a reserve fund and you're a government, then you got a problem, okay? Because the next thing you know, you're in the red. You're never in the black ever. But you know, to be able to transfer, and this is what's funny, because you said transfer funds, or you did when you gave your introduction, but it's their money that they want to transfer from the undesignated reserve fund to this project.
Right.
It's the school board's
It's
money.
already school board's money,
Right.
yeah.
It does not belong to the county commissioners anymore.
Right.
It's already the school board's money. So why would you not let them? Now, that's my conservative side and my education side. Okay, here's my political side. After talking to some of the county commissioners and the county administrator, one of their concerns is that they don't really have a plan, and that they were supposed to do this part and parcel with the Maryland Theater, okay, to do a complete project there. Well, the Maryland Theater isn't ready yet, and they don't have their plan yet. So they're just, they were erring on the side of caution, is how they feel about it, by not allowing this transfer of funds to happen, and for this project to move forward at this time. Does that mean this project won't ever move forward? I don't think that means that. I just think it means that not right now. As a former mayor of Hagerstown who focused on
How would you
redevelopment
feel
of
if you were
downtown,
Dave
I was, you know what, I have to admit, you know, I watched a little clip that the Herald Mail TV had on this today, you know, and David is a professional school counselor who has deep ties to remediation and those kind of things, and he understands it. He needs to practice a little bit of that with this, okay? He came across as not only angry, but cynical and all those things that you shouldn't be doing. When it's kind of like, well, actually, it reminds you of the days back when numbers were whores, and if you get a number on its back, it'll do whatever you want it to. That's what it kind of reminded me of.
I mean, the reality of the matter is I don't think that the nature of numbers has changed much, but
It hasn't.
they're still up to their, and I think from the city standpoint, there is some basis for the anger. I mean, there's a lot going on, and I think, leaving aside the theatrics and everything else that happens in politics, I think that the county, to some degree, has to understand that the city is the county's largest economic driver, whether they like it or not. I know that there's a difference.
County seat, all those things.
There is a difference in the political makeup of the city government versus the county government, but at the end of the day, they're both on the same side. They all should be working for us, the voters and the residents of Washington County and of Hagerstown.
This kind of reminds me of this situation. Kind of reminds me of a daddy saying to his kid, "No, you can't take $20 out of your piggy bank that you have saved to go buy that new game or whatever."
Is that the relationship they ought to have with the school board, though?
Yeah. No, I don't feel it is, because it reeks of the opposite of what home rule should be.
Yeah.
Which we don't have home rule. I understand that, but part of my angst about not having home rule for Washington County is that you got to go to the state level to do everything else to get whatever you want. Well, this is kind of like, poop rolls downhill. I mean, now it's down to the school board, and they got to go to the county to get whatever they want, and the county's saying, no, you can't have your money right now.
Well, and I think you brought up a valid point in terms of if there was a concern that there was no real plan in place for the project. I think maybe the way to approach that wouldn't necessarily be to just shut off the funding, but actually approach all the stakeholders and say, look, you guys need to get a plan in place. Let's work on having something that's viable before we transfer the money over.
Keep in mind, this
And I
downtown
think-
hub calls for $1.5 million from the city of Hagerstown.
You know,
I don't know
think-
where they're getting that money from.
Yeah, but still, everybody got skin in the game in this, and it just dragging their feet on all this stuff. What
And
purpose
funding
does
is
it
not the way
serve?
to go with this. I mean,
No.
it seems
Well,
to be
and
the thing.
I think that funding is not the way to go. And to use Bob's analogy, there is a difference between the daddy telling the kid that he can't take $20 out of his piggy bank in the privacy of the home versus doing it yelling outside on the front lawn in front of all the neighbors. And this is exactly what happened, I
Yeah.
think, in this case.
There could be a lot better cooperation
Oh,
here.
let me
It's
tell you
just,
something.
I mean,
These people need to go to some team building exercises somewhere, to
I mean, you
try to
got the whole
figure it
city
out.
council kind of erupting over
Well,
this
except for
thing.
Penny, she didn't say anything about it.
Yeah, but pretty much, so I don't know. It's like dysfunction. It's
Well,
like,
the entire city council on both sides of the political spectrum as
yeah,
well.
yes.
Well, what do you guys think of Wilcox's reaction to all of this?
By sending a letter saying-
Was it appropriate, or?
You know what, I believe that right now, he's like the team coach in a football game calling a timeout with 30 seconds left and a chance to score a touchdown. What do you want to do? Let's call timeout and talk about this first, okay? And then we'll go back and run that play again. But it's I feel he's doing the right thing at this time. I have great faith in Clayton Wilcox to begin with, and I believe that his goal is still to bring the best education to students of Washington County for the best price and in the best locations. I mean, and that's still his goal, and I believe that he'll figure out a way to get it done. And I think that you may find a completely different atmosphere the next time that these two groups get together.
Okay, so you think the non-combative nature of his reaction was appropriate? Was
I think he has to be at that point. I think he has to be the one to step back and say, listen, we're not going to have a fight about this right now.
Okay.
I mean, there's too much in the air as it is. We don't need to add fuel to the fire.
Bob, that's the last word. Next up on the
Done it
flip
again.
side, what really pees off our panelists? Stick around and find out.